Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Mix It Up Monday. This is a hop that I hostess over on my own Facebook community group that has changed from previous months. Anna, the previous owner of the group, let me take over the group completely, and rather than restart a new Paper Snob community, I went ahead and changed the name of the group so that I could keep all of my friends on there and so that we wouldn't all have to join another group that I created. So everything that will be linked down below. If you would like to join us for any of the hops that I hostess over on the Paper Snob community group, I would love to have you. That link is below. If you're not a member, go ahead and click join, answer the membership questions, and you'll be approved. So I am going to talk about Mix It Up Monday just a little bit. Mix It Up Monday is a hop where we use mixed media on our scrapbook pages. And I am going to be playing with some stencil paste, some watercolors, and I'm going to be using 49 Market's Vintage Artistry Nature Study. I do want to point out that there is a playlist for this group below, or for this hop below, for my YouTube creators. I always list my Instagram participants first. Those are the ones that do not have a YouTube channel or are busy and can't create for YouTube. So I want you to make sure that you check out those links as well. I have several people who play along and their creations are amazing. So make sure that you check out both the playlist and the hop list for Instagram. I typically post my layout on Instagram as well and link everybody up on the Instagram account by tagging them. So I pulled out some product. I think that Nature Study is probably one of my absolute favorites. I know some will be like, oh, buddy, it's browns. Oh my goodness, I love it. You can do so much with neutral colors, and I have a lot of hiking photos. So every time I see Nature Study elements on sale, I grab more. Probably going to run out of paper before I run out of embellishments, but I have some scraps here from a previous layout. This is the product sheet from the Foundations collection pack, and this is just a scrap from the collection. This is toast laser cut elements, and I thought I might fussy cut some stuff out maybe, or just use this side as I layer it up. So the sketch that we're using this month, I'm going to post that up here. This sketch is from a defunct blog, and I'm going to go ahead and use it, but we are going to give her credit. It is her sketch, but she doesn't post on her blog anymore, but the sketch is awesome, so we're going to use that. I have a photo, and I have this brand new bottle of stencil paste from Bo Bunny that I haven't tried. It's in chiffon. It's unsealed, or it's sealed. And then I have two stencils that I want to play with. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to get started with this mixed media, and I will be right back. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and use this stencil. It is a brand new stencil. A friend gave it to me as a table gift at We Create in 2023, and I've never even opened it. But I thought today was a great time to go ahead and get it opened. I'm not going to use the whole stencil. I'm going to just kind of pick and choose from the center, set it aside, and then I am going to be pulling in this stencil. I bought this stencil at my local scrapbook store here in Colorado Springs, and I'm going to be using mostly the small dots part of it. And this is an all and create stencil. You might check to see if MK has it in her shop over at Some Assemblage Required. She does carry this brand, but I'm not sure if she has this stencil or not in her store, but she might. So if you like the stencil, go check and see if she does. So I'm just kind of randomly putting the texture paste, and then I'm going to set it aside to dry. It's been a hot minute since I've played with my fancy watercolors, so I pulled them out. I'm going to be using some of the blues and the browns from my watercolors. I purchased these on eBay or on Amazon, and also purchased this little metal tin so that I could squeeze the tubes into it and have some ready to play with. I love the idea that when I run out of a single color, I can just squeeze a little bit more in there and go ahead and use it. I also love that these are very saturated in color. Some of the cheapy ones that I have are not very saturated, but I was finding that it was too dark, and so I'm starting to use my craft mat, and I'm going to be watering it down just a little bit more with that. And I'm going to add some more of the color with the packaging method. I had kind of an idea of what I wanted to go on here, and I'm just kind of playing, and I'm using my paintbrush to just get more color on there. I don't know if you saw, but my kitten stuck his nose over in the watercolors and started licking them, so I poked him with my paintbrush because they are probably not toxic. I mean, they're watercolors, but I really don't want him eating paint. What a silly kitten. So I'm pretty happy with the amount of the brown that I got on here. And now I'm going to bring in another brush and add some of the blue. And I was just guessing on the color, and this wasn't really the color that I wanted. And it's really dark, so I started spraying directly onto my paper. And yes, this does cause some warpage in the end when I get it all on there, but I tend to turn the paper over and kind of bend it back to allow it to go back into shape, and that seems to help. And see, there he is again trying to lick the paint off my paper. What a silly, silly boy. And using the paint tech or the packaging technique again to get some more of the blue on here. And like I said, that isn't really the color I was looking for. I was looking for more of a navy, but I'm just going to make this work. I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm going to use my heat gun a little bit to dry some of the paper so that it doesn't take as long. And then I usually just walk away and do other things and let it dry completely on its own. I might even, as it's drying on its own, I'll probably clean my paintbrushes, etc., and get things ready to go for the next step. So now I am setting aside the watercolors, and I have this Prima paint, and it's a metallic, I think it might be called copper. I'm not sure of the name. But it's a really beautiful color, and I love that I'm able to add some of this on here in the form of splatters and stuff. Fun fact, I got it all over my black tabletop, and it will not wipe off. I cleaned it immediately after shutting the camera off, and it had dried just that fast, and I could not get that off at all. So I may have to sit with a small scrub brush and scrub it a little bit to get it off. I tried again a couple of days later to get it off, and I still couldn't get it off, but I was able to scrape it with my fingernails. So now I'm ready to go ahead and start working on building the layout. And I decided not to fussy cut any of those butterflies that was along with this piece here, but I am going to use this as a base mat for under my photo. Now about that photo is a picture of me being weird, and I think that I was probably grading papers on Christmas break that year and was frustrated, and for whatever reason I snapped a photo of my eyeballs all big. I don't know, me being weird. Welcome to my weirdness, but the photo was funny to me, so I'm going to scrapbook it, and I'm not going to have a real title on this layout. I'm just going to let the two phrases that I chose from the embellishments And I did all of that off camera. I pulled the embellishments that I thought I would use, and I cut down the papers so that they would be usable and that I could build this pretty quickly on camera. The only thing that's taking a hot minute is the scuffing it up with my distress tool. I really like this. It's like a frame on a stand. It kind of reminds me of an old-fashioned mirror without the mirror, but I really liked it and I wanted to use that. And like I said, this is a scrap from a previous layout, so I'm just kind of scuffing them up, and I didn't really smooth out the edges that were cut. I think I used the one piece with my Cameo, and I believe I cut a cut file with it, but I tend to save all of the little pieces in a 49 and Market collection until I'm done with the full pieces. I also took the plaid. There's a little plaid border looking piece. That's actually the branding strip from my background, and so I cut it down so that I could use some of it as well. I did bring in some of the pieces from the Toast collection, and I put Toast in with my nature study collection in the beginning because I didn't have a whole lot of it, but as I've collected more, probably could move it out, but I've just left it there because it goes fairly well with nature study. The browns aren't exactly the same, but they mix and match well enough as far as I'm concerned. So the doily and the tabs came from from Toast. I think that's all that I pulled in from Toast. The rest of it's all from nature study. And I'm just tucking things around and kind of getting an idea of how I want things to go onto the layout. And when I glue this together off camera, I will just use my wet glue and I'll stick it under places and get glue on it and press down. That way I don't have to move my layers. Right now, trying to save my layers from Phineas. Phineas is really lovey-dovey today. He wanted hugs every 5 seconds. And it took me quite a while to get his attention elsewhere. I don't like telling a cat no about hugs, but he seems to only want to have hugs when I am either trying to work out, which is fun, or if I'm trying to record. He's such a goober. I tried to pick him up like an hour before this to play with him and cuddle with him, and he wanted no part of that nonsense. He wanted to wait until I was busy, of course, silly kitty. So I am just scuffing up all of the pieces and layering them up. The sketch had like this little bit down here, and I thought that it would be fun to just put a big cluster of embellishments and papers down there. If you wanted, and if you chose, you could actually have 2 photos on this layout, one in the smaller cluster and one in the larger cluster. And I'm actually expecting some of the ladies to do that. But I only had this one photo, and I just decided that this is how it was going to work for me. And again, I'm just tucking and adding things here and there, just kind of trying to make everything fit in, because I definitely wanted to use all of the things that I pulled out. So I paused the camera so that I could get things glued down, and now I want to add some of these little clear colored stones. I got a whole bunch of product like this when I was designing for Buttons Galore and more, and I don't always remember to pull out the goodies that I got from them to play with, and frankly, I need to start doing that. So I chose some brownish and bluish and clear stones to play with. I thought I'd be able to use my Pink Fresh Studios gem picker to put them on there, but it would not pick them up. Probably too heavy, and that's fine. I just use my fingers, and I just put glue where I thought I was going to stick them, and it does ooze out from under them a little bit, but it does also dry clear, and you can't see it once it's dried. And I think I put 5 in the small cluster, and I end up with 7 in the cluster around my photo. You can see that I've got my phrases on there. Like I said, I'm not going to add an actual title to this layout, and I'm also probably not going to add any journaling. I might write something on the back, but I'm not going to put anything on the front. I know that is something that I don't usually do, but that's just how it goes. All right, I got this layout completely finished. I got everything glued down, and then off camera I added some more sprays. I added a white spray over here to kind of tone down that blue and to help bring out some of that texture. I also added 2 of the Distress Spritz, one in Uncharted Mariner and the other one is Walnut Stain. And you can kind of see the walnut stain here and the darker blue over here. And I still have quite a bit of texture showing through, and I spritzed around my photos and my embellishment clusters just to kind of tone down those colors just a tad. And I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I would love to ask that you check out that playlist below for Mix It Up Monday. We've got a lot of wonderful creators. At the top of my description box above the playlist, there will be a list of my Instagram ladies. These ladies are also amazing, and you guys need to check out each and every one of their creations today and just see how they interpreted the sketch and how they mixed it up. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.